everyone, Miss Tui here. When you're reading, do you ever think about the structure of the story? I'm not talking about a barn or a house or a skyscraper. I'm actually talking about how the material is organized. We'll get to that in a second. For today's lesson, you will need an Ozobot, fully charged and calibrated, color code markers, a pencil, and your ID the Structure Reading Passages sheets. Make sure to have both pages, and your activity map. After today's lesson, you will be able to identify the structure of a passage: chronology, problem solution, comparison, and cause and effect. First of all, let's define the structure, then we'll see how it is used. With chronology, the events in the story or passage are told as if they were happening one thing after another in time. You can often spot a chronological structure because you'll notice words like first, then, next, and finally. On the ID the Structure Reading Passages sheet, can you find one passage whose structure is chronology? Write chronology on the line at the beginning of the passage. If you wrote chronology on passage number 1, you are correct. Let's move on to the structure of problem solution. This one is exactly what it sounds like. The characters come across a problem and they find a solution. Can you find a passage that has the structure of problem solution? Nice work. If you wrote problem solution next to passage 2, you are correct again. The next structure we'll talk about is comparison. In this structure, one thing is compared to another, often using a simile or a metaphor. Similes generally use words like or as to compare two things. For example, the flower was bright like the sun. A flower is being compared to the sun using the word like. In a metaphor, two unrelated things are compared to each other. For example, snowflakes are dancers in the wind. Snowflakes are being compared to dancers. Can you find a passage that has the structure of comparison? You are doing great so far. If you wrote comparison next to passage 4, you are correct. The final structure we will talk about today is cause and effect. Again, it's exactly what it sounds like. One thing causes another. For example, I stayed at the beach too long, so I got a sunburn. The cause? Too much time in the sun. The effect? A sunburn. Can you find a passage that has the structure of cause and effect? Did you identify passage 5 as cause and effect? Excellent job. There are 5 more passages that need to be identified. Take a couple of minutes to read them through and identify their structures. Can you identify the structure of the remaining passages? Now that you've identified the structure of each reading passage, get out your ID the Structure activity page and color code markers. You'll use the color codes for left at intersection, right at intersection, and straight at intersection to get your Ozobot to the correct structure. Start with number 1, which we identified as chronology. Follow the Ozobot line all the way to chronology. What color code do you need to add to the line to get your Ozobot there? Correct. You need a right at intersection code. Fill that in and place your bot on the start circle for number 1. Then you'll see the Ozobot do a victory dance at chronology. Can you fill in the color codes for the rest of the passages? Let's make sure you have everything complete before you turn it in. Have you identified the structure of each passage? Have you completed the color codes on your activity sheet? Did your Ozobot do 9 victory dances? Nice work on this activity. Come back again soon for more fun.